Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with JediInsider.com, your #1 news source for everything Star Wars. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the upcoming Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Clone Commander Cody figure. Now this figure comes in the assortment that should start shipping, or in the wave that should start shipping sometime in May, probably late May. We looked at the previous two figures in the wave, Bush and IG-88, the other day. And so this is the third figure in that wave. And the figure comes packaged in the same style of packaging we've seen with the others. The black box, the window packaging, so you can see the figures in the, clearly in the packaging. You've got the little medallion image up in the top corner, the Star Wars The Black Series logo down below. Now this one is a little bit different because we've got the name of the figure in multiple languages. So that's a little bit different than the others. And then it tells us that this is figure number 14 in the series. Then on the back of the packaging, we have again the name of the character in multiple languages, the Star Wars logo, that border lighting in blue, looks like Death Star lighting, an image of the character from the movie, and then some legalese and the Disney and Hasbro logos. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, for the most part, this figure seems to be very similar. The body sculpt is basically looks like the same sculpt as what they used for the regular clone that they previously released, with a few minor additions and such. Now, the head sculpts are definitely totally different, but everything else, for the most part, seems to be primarily the same. Again, they've added some additional sculpting to the Cody figure, and we'll look at that a little closer, but overall the body between these two figures seems to basically be the same. So for the accessories, he comes with basically the same weapons that we saw with the Clone Trooper. He comes with that smaller blaster rifle and then the larger one. Both have decent sculpting on them, not a lot in the way of paint details, just basic black. And the hands are sculpted the same as on the Clone Trooper. So on his right hand, he's got that one kind of trigger finger that pops out, and he can hold the weapons in both hands. So you can get the rifle in one hand, and then the other hand doesn't have the trigger finger, but again, still can hold the weapon. So just like with the Clone Trooper. Now, it would have been nice. I would have liked to seen them maybe give like a little hologram thing, where Palpatine gives him Order 66, he's holding that little hologram projector thing. That would have been a cool accessory to add, so we didn't just get the same weapons that we've already had. But as it is, we just get the two blasters. So the head sculpt looks pretty good on this one. He's got that extra visor piece because he's a commander, and it's done in a yellow type plastic. It's got a little white striping on it. And he's got this weird thing that kind of sticks out, maybe like a camera or something, on the top of his helmet. And then he's got some antennas on the back. Now, on mine, this one on his one side is a little bent, a little warped, came out of the packaging a little warped, but not anything major. And then he's got this other antenna like you see with Boba Fett and other figures. It doesn't move or anything, there's no articulation. They're just kind of like soft plastic, so they do bend a little bit. And then he's got like the blue markings like we see on the Stormtrooper helmets. Some nice sculpting, the breathing apparatuses. He's got a little yellow around those as well. And then the black eyes. He's got some gray striping on the top of his helmet. So overall, again, pretty nice detailing with the helmet on this one. And then again, for the body, for the most part, from what I can tell, it's basically the same with just some added sculpting. So like on his chest here, they've sculpted this little, rank piece on his chest, and then he's also got some scratches on his armor, which you don't see on the Clone Trooper. But otherwise, the chest seems to basically be the same. He's got these little, I guess, I'm not sure what these little marks are supposed to be, but this one's got it as well, but they've painted it in yellow. And then, of course, they've added some yellow paint for the Commander Cody look, and it's got some like scratches on it, which it's supposed to give it kind of that wear and tear look. So that looks pretty good. Midsection, again, is pretty much the same, though. On Cody, they've used gray. It looks like gray plastic as opposed to white. The belts again are pretty much exactly the same, except again this has got added color. So half the belt's gray and then the other half is yellow. And then they've added, well no, actually you still got the same, the back is pretty much the same, they've just again added color. So these little boxes are kind of a dark bronze metallic almost color, and then they've added some yellow on the tips of whatever these little canister things on their belts are, and some more yellow and some gray scratch marks. So you know, it definitely looks pretty good. The backs maybe are a little bit different, the back pieces. I mean, this one's definitely, they've got a backpack that looks like they've basically glued on that fits over this square piece. So that's an added thing, and it's not removable. The backpack is not removable. And it's basically all white, and it's got some of that bronze metallic paint in the middle and some gray. But I guess it looks a little bit different on the back. Just this indent on his back looks a little sleeker than on the Clone Trooper, so I think the back pieces maybe are a little bit different. The butts are basically the same, and then the legs again are basically the same, just different. You know, this has got white and gray on the knee joint, and this one's got yellow and white. But again, basically same legs, just added paint and detail. And then like on the shoulder, again they've sculpted this in, I guess it's supposed to be another antenna or something that they sculpted on the shoulder. But so actually I think the shoulder pads between the two are actually totally different, because I see some like indenting here. So the shoulder pads are different between the two figures. And he also has this little added strap on his right arm that has this thing sticking in it. I don't really know what that's supposed to be, but yeah, that's something added that's not found on like the regular Clone Trooper. So the figure stands just a little bit over 6 inches tall. He's pretty much the same height as that Clone Trooper figure. They stand pretty much the same height. And here he is next to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's a little bit taller than Obi-Wan. Articulation on this figure is pretty good. Head's on a ball hinge joint, so he's got good rotation. You can look left and right, and then he's got good up and down movement. Arms are attached at the shoulders with your standard ball hinge joints. However, these shoulder pads do kind of limit how much he can get his arms out. So that's about as much out as you can get the arms. It does have good rotation there, so no problem with rotating the arms. He has a bicep swivel, so no problems there. Double hinged elbow, so he's got good bending at the elbow. And then he's got hinged wrists, so you can swivel at the wrist. Now, the left hand has the wrist on the palm, or the hinge on the palm, so he's got the up and down movement on the palm, and then on the right hand it's the hinges at the top of the hand, so he's got up and down movement with that one. He does have a basically a torso joint, and it kind of clicks when you turn it. Doesn't have much of a crunch though, but he does have that rotation there. Does not really able to do the splits very well. That's about as far out as you can get the legs, and then that's about as forward as you can get the leg, and about as back as you can get the leg. He has a swivel there at the thigh. He has double jointed knees, so good bending at the knees, and then he's got the ankle pivot and 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, that's my review. Overall, I think this is a pretty good figure. You know, if you're into the Clone Troopers and trying to build up a clone army, or just like the prequel figures in general, then I think this is definitely one that you're going to want to add to your collection. Overall, I think the sculpting's nice. Now, articulation, everything, if you have the Clone Troopers in this line, then you know what to expect. The accessories are a little bit on the boring side, you know, the same rifles that we've previously gotten. I would have liked to have seen maybe, you know, that little hologram projector thing that he uses to receive Order 66 in the movie. But still, you know, overall I think the figure is nice, and obviously Cody was played a pretty big role in the movie. So, you know, again, if you're a fan of the prequel figures, I think this is one that you'll definitely want to add to your collection. Now, this figure is slated to start hitting shelves in late May, I believe, along with the other two figures in the wave, IG-88 and Bush, which we previously looked at. So if you do want to add this one to your collection, then that's when you'll probably want to start looking for it. There is a full gallery of images of the figure over at JediInsider.com, so if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description below. And as always, you know, please leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.